Mainly sheep are free range. They have their lambs at this time of the year and go back out on the grass, and the lambs just grow by drinking mum's milk and eating the grass. Here we have chickens and ducks, and they all roam around wherever they want to. They're happier, yes, and must be nice sitting out on the field on a nice sunny day. Some people think that we just get the lambs and then we kill the mothers, but we don't. Um, in the pen here we've got sheep of all ages. We have to charge more for free range animals because there are more things that are going to kill them and they don't grow so well, etc., etc. People who don't like the idea of animals being shut up and that, they pay a bit more. In Britain everybody expects food to be cheap, and they don't like paying the proper price. It is going to get worse because the population of the world is growing rapidly all the time. We can't produce enough by free range animals to feed everybody.
History is basically an ethical supermarket that's been crowdfunded. We're selling meat which comes from local farms. It's all really nice places that we've checked out and worked with, we've visited. We've got eggs that also come from a really nice farm in Sussex, which haven't necessarily got organic certification or things like that because it's so expensive to get those. Buying local, buying high welfare, buying organic if we can, and keeping the price low. So the advantages of local meat really is they're not having the intake of chemicals or possible antibiotics, and also you're being able to see the direct kind of farming qualities because they're all within your areas, and also you're being able to support the people who are running local farms. We definitely prefer animals out in the fields, eating grass, eating the food that they want to be eating, being out in the natural environment.
That's all I got.
So basically we're a high welfare chicken restaurant, sourcing the best ingredients we can from as local farmers as possible. They have no hormones, no anything injected to them, they have loads of free space to roam. Unfortunately, ethical stuff is more expensive. People in the UK, I feel, are extremely price sensitive. The price is one of the most important things for them. And more and more people are becoming aware of the terrible practices that happen in the chicken industry, and people are starting to realise that eating good food is also going to affect the way you feel. Spend the extra couple pounds for the better chicken. The concept of free range is a very broad label. On the one side you've got free range products on the market, for example in the chicken industry, where they're actually barn reared, and they create a few different holes, really awkward holes in the barn, where you find about 100 chickens outside and 1,000 chickens inside the barn. So actually they're barn reared chickens and they never see daylight, but they're still labelled free range. That's the bad side of free range. Then you go all the way to the good side, and some free range, the labelled free range stuff is really high quality. But by just having one label on such a broad spectrum, forget about free range, forget about red tractor, forget about freedom foods. That it's just a box ticking exercise for farmers. That's the challenge we have at the moment, because our chicken actually has no labels at all. But actually it's the opposite. It's a very, very high quality, pure free range. They're very small, tiny farm, and the farmer just hasn't paid for any of the labels basically.
This is Hen Heaven. It's a sanctuary primarily for ex-battery hens and also turkeys, and to just slowly let them gain their freedom and their confidence and come out and roam. It was wonderful to watch. There are one or two good free-range places. But a lot of free-range places might have 50 chickens crammed into one huge shed. When they open the pop holes in the morning, the first few hundred chickens will go out, and then a whole line of birds will line up on the entrance to the pop hole. Might never go out, but because the pop hole is open, every bird that lays an egg is classified as free range. All the eggs coming out of that unit are free range eggs, because that's the legal definition that they have access to the outside, not that they ever go out.
Animal Aid is opposed to all forms of animal cruelty, so we try to campaign against all forms of animal exploitation and animal suffering. Factory farming has a huge number of problems associated with it. In principle among those is the fact that it treats animals as units of production rather than as living creatures capable of suffering. Although battery cages were banned in 2012, we still have lots of chickens being kept in cages for the egg industry in this country. Caged egg production is still legal. Before 2012, we had a system called battery cages, and these were small cages that had maybe a handful of chickens in, and they had much less space. They were just bare cages, there was nothing in them but the chickens. Now might have 60 to 80 chickens in one cage. They have about the amount of space they have each is about the same as a sheet of A4 paper, which is much bigger than the chicken itself. So it's not really much of an improvement on the old system, but when it was brought in, it was kind of hailed as being a big step forward, but really it's not a lot different, unfortunately. But that is perfectly legal at the moment, unfortunately.
To be honest with you, I would say don't choose free range either, or that this is the problem in the whole industry. It's misleading. All the label system is misleading the public. There's no two labels which marry both space and animal rights. That should exist.
I think a lot of the labels that are associated with free range and so-called higher welfare farming are very misleading. So they don't have constant access to the outside. Animals don't have to suffer and die for our food.
Every living thing on this planet has the same rights and life. All they've got is their life. If you have the chance to give them that life, you should. I know that we have to produce more food, but the quality of the food that's being produced is abysmal. There needs to be a lot more husbandry and a lot more compassion.